Good morning again, YouTube. This is Zephyr, and today we're going to be doing my favorite class in this game. This is part of the starting over series I've been doing and doing each class once or so. We're going to be doing the Exterminator. The Exterminator is a relatively fast movement speed and low damage character. He gains base damage, burn chance, burn damage, and defense as he gets bigger, as he levels up. He has multiple attacks per second, and therefore has quite a lot of damage in total. His attack is relatively mid-range until you get a bunch of range bonuses, and moves kind of slow, but it has a pretty high burn chance that then goes up as you move through the game. He is also very easily decked out with good equipment. There is a lot of burn-oriented equipment, some base damage equipment that can make him very, very powerful just from those. So let's get into the run itself. We don't have any rings here. So he has 3 attacks per second already, and he gains defensive bonuses as he levels up. So we probably want to keep those. We definitely want that on him. And I'm actually going to go with extra defense instead of extra movement speed. He's quite fast. Not the fastest. Well, actually, he might be the fastest. Most of the movement speeds have been re-standardized recently. So, do we have any money to spend here? We do. We have just enough that we can spend on 1 point of defense. So last time we did the Warlock on the Forgotten Viaduct, and it didn't go perfectly. And this time, I'm going to do the Ember Grounds a second time here. So we did actually unlock Agony Mode, but I'm not going to do Agony Mode with a limited loadout on this character. We have a helmet slot and 2 ring slots completely empty. We have very little actual equipment. So here we go. Flame on flame. Fight fire with fire. So naturally the Ember Grounds are volcanic and demonic. But we like fire. Or at least I do. So we just got a achievement very quickly there for burning enemies at the same time. The Exterminator doesn't just have a high defense, but also has somewhat decent regeneration. Because of this, he's a bit of a mixed ranged melee kind of character. His actual attack is tagged as range, but in much of the gameplay that you'll use him in, you'll probably want him in kind of a mid to melee range anyways. If I shoot my flame down here, you'll see that it actually slows down as it reaches its maximum range. So things farther away are going to be harder to hit right away. Do we want to go for multi-strike, or do we want to go for burn? We will wait for the burn. I don't have any potions yet. Actually, do I? Thought we got 1 potion from saving the potion guy. We did. We have 1 potion right there. I'm used to having all 4 of them right there. Health and defense, regeneration, and movement speed. I do tend to go for attack speed in most of my games. Either heavy damage or attack speed are some of my favorites. Just going all in on one thing. In this game, I find attack speed to be quite valuable over damage because a lot of things already give a massive amount of damage. So attack speed is a little bit more rare. And since attack speed and damage are effectively multiplicative, where you'd rather have 100% damage bonus and 100% attack speed instead of 200% damage most of the time. We've got our first little boss here. A lot of these enemies are grouping up, which makes it really easy to take them out with fire. We'll go for some more health and defense. Worm our way down to one of these scrolls as well. Now, since we don't have the starting scroll, once you beat the area in a certain way, you will get the starting scroll, which is actually a tome. You can choose any of the abilities and not just a random selection from 3. Let's get some movement speed in here. That sounds good. So since we don't have that, it is good to have the scrolls relatively early if possible. Once you have that initial tome, levels become significantly easier. And that's where you can probably start doing agony challenges, and in the future, the Torment Shrine challenges. Because of how the Exterminator works, I really enjoy the Iron Ring on this character. If you want to do just raw damage. If you want to do more burning damage, you can run more of the burning chance equipment stuff. If you get the challenge, the Agony 3 challenge, you get the mark of each character. And the mark has been... all the marks have been redone in the balance patch. I have something in my throat here. So the mark for the Exterminator is now a chance to burn things, which makes the Exterminator even better. And it makes other classes more like the Exterminator, which is cool. There's our burn chance. That's what I wanted. For example, the Beast Huntress or Beast Master has a hound, and you can get 2 hounds now because of that. Her mark gives her an extra hound or gives another class a first hound, making her into more of a summoner, kind of a not quite druid kind of feel there. The mark for the Exterminator gives burn chance per level or so, which makes it so that he scales up twice as fast with his burn damage. Okay. We'll grab this one and go back to the other one. More attack speed. I'll take some damage for this, probably. Flame Strike. The Flame Strike, I think, is actually quite good on this character. Attack speed or 20% damage. I go with attack speed. So the attack speed also allows us to get more burn stacks with the fire. Now, Flame Strike, I don't think I've taken that so far in this reset run. And Flame Strike is... how to say, it's kind of a melee ability, but it charges up as you don't use it. When it finally triggers from something being in melee range, sorry, I'm concentrating on not getting hit by this boss here. We're doing pretty good on him. Oh, that'll help. Die, die, die. Whoa, he dropped 2 things. Nice. Potion. What else do we get here? On hit with physical damage. Well, we don't do any physical damage. And the wooden ring is pretty good. We are not a crit-based character, but we could choose between any of our items and put them up the well for future use. So the Oblivion Potion allows us to destroy a trait in the menu so that we don't have to see it. Remove it from the pool, change our randomness factors. And the ring is just crit chance. So it used to be that crit chance was a flat bonus. Where is our crit chance? So we have a 5% crit chance. And we're only going to 7.5 here. This is rounded up probably in the UI. So characters that have crit are going to stay having crit. But characters that don't have crit don't really benefit from it anymore. Don't benefit from it at least as much. Anyways, I was talking about Flame Strike. The more you can save it up for, say, a boss or a larger enemy, it will pretty much just instantly kill something smaller. So it just did 9,900 damage there. And the more it charges up, the more damage it does. It also has crit chance. So it's pretty high chance to crit. I'll take that for movement speed, and we'll save the other one for the alternate option. So something you can do with Flame Strike is, if you are a melee character, you can get its attack speed up to be actually quite quickly, triggering pretty much constantly on enemies. With enough attack speed or charge or whatnot, because there's like attack speed, there's charge rate, there's critical factor, there's damage factor, you can get the Flame Strike to be kind of a constant in melee range and not have to worry about it charging up as much. Which is kind of why I like it on some of the more medium and long-range characters, is it acts as this kind of backup damage. You need to get some good damage off real quickly, you just walk up to something and it dies. Or if something's sneaking up from behind, it might just die because the Flame Strike is fully charged up. Whereas on melee classes, it's kind of just always going off because you're trying to be in a relatively melee range. So there's some different ways to use it, and I really enjoy the fact that you can kind of go for crit, attack speed, charge values, things like that. It also has a alternative upgrade, little chevron upgrade, where it triggers like a burst of flame damage and burn across every enemy nearby the enemy that was hit. So Flame Strike can be really powerful in builds that want to build a lot of burn damage or crit damage and just eradicate a single boss by being in melee range and being tanky enough to, or fast enough to navigate around or through the boss. This is the one we want. So if I get really close, Flame Strike just basically instantly ended that health bar. Burn it all. We'll get a little closer here in a second. All these little demon dogs in the way. We will be switching enemy types here soon enough. We've got the demon dogs, we got some occasional skeletons going on in there, but we also are starting to get the flaming skulls as well. Once we get away from these demon dog spawns, probably in 12 seconds, hopefully. So if I walk up to this, it's just going to take all this flame damage from the fire strike. Another achievement. There it is. And just playing each character, like, once or twice will give you a lot of achievements if you're just kind of playing through the game, doing good damage, making use of their abilities, and making use of different abilities up here as well. There we go. We've got Fury and Mighty. The damage here is very good, and that's multiplied by the critical chance and the build-up. But the attack speed is also very good, because it means it's just going to trigger constantly. So, I'm actually going to take the damage on this one. This Flame Strike kind of already triggers instantly. Where attack speed kind of helps the charge up more so. We'll just keep taking more attack speed on the main weapon, though. Doesn't really tell me how many attacks I've got here. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. I'm blind. So, we almost have 6 attacks per second. Each one of those attacks passes through the enemy and has a chance to burn. Our burn chance is going to be getting higher and higher as we get really close to, say, 30, 50, 60, and 100. So let's see here. Where are we getting burn chance here? So, that is interesting. I don't have a mark on. It's counting a passive effect as the mark, I think, right there. So if we had the mark on, it would probably be doubled. I've mentioned in other videos that I really like the AI in this game. It's extremely simple, but also complex in the same time. And what I mean by that is, each enemy has different movements. So these slimes, they just kind of zigzag around you. They slowly move towards you, but they zigzag as they do so. Skeletons and a lot of other enemies will somewhat run straight at you. These little imps, they'll kind of run towards you and then hover right at, like, not quite melee range. There are telegraphs, of course. So you have, if I can kill it, this little dude that explodes. You've got the little snakes that spit the waves of energy or whatever at you. I don't know if they're supposed to be earthquakes or what. Okay, so we can only take attack speed at that level. That's fine. We did pass a scroll here. Let's go find out where that went. What do I want? I'll take range. This was probably dropped by the giant slime dude. Something I will note is if you have abilities that can hit enemies off screen, you will get scrolls and power-ups occasionally off screen, and you'll have to pay attention more than I am currently paying attention to see those. So I had to backtrack a little bit to that. We'll probably get an achievement at level 30 here just in a second. There it is. Novice Exterminator. So there's an achievement at level 30 and level 60 for each class. As you probably know by now, each achievement in-game gives you experience bonuses, percentage experience bonuses. So as long as you're moving through the game and getting more and more achievements, you will have more and more snowball potential. So this is the one I was actually talking about. Set nearby enemies on fire without direct damage. So when it triggers, it sets other enemies on fire. We're just going to stand inside of this. We picked up an invulnerability boost. We're pretty much just going to stand kind of right here for a few seconds and then back up when it's running out. We've got 3 bosses on the screen. This is a little dangerous. One of them is from the pickup, so my own fault there. So there, it triggered, and all those enemies in that little mob right there got lit on fire at the same time. There we go. Did it again. Just gonna keep taking this. More health, more defense. I find the Exterminator is probably quite good with the health amulet. Coming up on a blank right now for its name. You get more damage based on your missing health. I don't know. Area seems okay. Well, I'm not a big fan of Frost Avalanche, but since this is a new character or a save file, it's probably actually decent to try it out, get some achievements, maybe unlock some stuff, do some frost damage. I do think I know they've changed burn damage a couple times, because it was considered a little bit weaker. Don't really need the regen, but I'll take it anyway. Movement speed. Why, hello there. Little boss guy here. Yeah, you didn't survive that, huh? Burn damage does tick over time. So if you can get enough stacks on something, you're going to do quite a bit of damage when it ticks. We have the iron ring now. This is huge. Let's see here. Where is my base damage here? We're getting base damage from level ups. We've now gotten base damage from the iron ring. If we had started with the iron ring, we would have had a pretty significant, what is that, a 33% damage boost or so. Or something close to it. So it is less effective at the moment, but it is still quite good because we hit 3 times a second for anything we're hitting. So we're getting 3 times the value out of the iron ring on our basic attack. And because it is an item, most items are generally a global bonus. So, for example, if we look at something like this, it's gaining 15 bonus base damage. We already have 100% bonus as a percentage. So we're starting to see, we will see some diminishing returns from the percentage damage, and that flat damage becomes significant. So charge multiplier there, you can see how big that charge multiplier is on the Flame Strike. It is huge, it is very valuable. And then this doesn't say what its damage is, 70. So that iron ring is doing a decent amount for the base damage of the avalanche. Now, all of these being elemental can be very reliant on their elemental debuffs instead of their raw damage. So Frost Avalanche is very good at creating frost. You can kind of see it on some of these enemies right now. The lightning strikes create the electrify effect. I think they renamed the electrify effect. They renamed it to Spark. So we don't have options here on the Frost Avalanche. I right-clicked that. It doesn't show anything. So that means there are none yet. I'm going to be making my way towards the bucket and the pickup glove. There's that flame strike just triggering as soon as I walk up. There it is. Again. Because it just continuously triggers when you're up in melee range of something. There's no secondary effect on this one either. So as you use an ability, you'll get achievements, and achievements will also unlock both alternate or upgrade versions, as well as trait upgrades as well. So that's why some of these don't have any, because I haven't used them yet. So here we have the option of the other one, but I'm going to take the damage just to take it. To get the upgrade access, you need to have each of these to be level 3. Each individually to be level 3. So if I want Frost Avalanche to do something extra, when I pick up this book here, I'm actually going to turn this down. I probably shouldn't have picked it up yet. So there we go. We didn't have level 3 of Frost Avalanche. So we didn't get the options there. Walk 8,000 meters in a single run. So now we have these little hammer dudes. They mark the ground with a purple little telegraph and leap there. Yet another cute little AI thing. I'm of the opinion that a lot of game design is actually very simple, and that it's actually easy to over-design instead of under-design something. I think that's one of the reasons why the Vampire Survivors genre has become so popular, is because it kind of distills certain effects down. It makes it potentially easier to make certain effects really interesting, without convoluting those effects too much. It's also a simple gameplay loop, which leads to potentially more people playing it, or more people playing it more casually. It has strategic values, often enough at least, in Halls of Torment and similar, to be more movement and positioning oriented, and not just simply dodge rolling or blocking or things like that, because you have so few mechanics to interact with. Your mechanics are picking the right traits, which is more of a macro strategy than a micro fighting game, clicking buttons as fast and in the right order as possible. And obviously it is a style and a choice to, you know, subjective interest there. 3 million fire damage in one run. Nice. But it still, I think, helps with the simplification of mechanics. And in that same vein, the older games that I love, I think, were not hindered by their mechanical or technological limitations. So I consider Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 to be relatively different genres, and still yet very good. Some of the best games ever in those genres, especially for their time. Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 are very dated now. They're still very playable in my opinion, but they are... You see their age. They are definitely dated. So we're going to go here and we will... I'm going to give up the Iron Ring. We will survive, hopefully. You can find extra buckets, just as an item drop. There we go. We got a pick up glove, and now we're going to level up a bit. All the stuff we didn't pick up earlier. But yeah, I think older games, because of their limitations, required developers to limit their core goals, to avoid scope creep and to avoid over design and things like that. And I think because of modern day powerhouses of computers, there are few games that probably won't run on a moderately powerful laptop. I actually game on a laptop. I am recording as I game on this laptop. And I am not getting any stutter. I'm also not running at crazy high frame rates or anything. I'm running at the standard, 60 or older standard at this point. I know plenty of people are running at, 200 or 120 or something like that. But what are you gaining in a game like this at those frame rates? Not much. And honestly, most games are not actually calculating behind the scenes that quickly. You're just drawing to the screen more often. More than often enough, at least. Games are typically still locked to 30 or even 60 frame rate in the logical tick update. So, for example, League of Legends or Dota, these top-down team-based games. The server tick is 30. Anything higher than that would drastically change the game, maybe for the better, but it's going to require quite a bit more data and better connection, and maybe there's some rubber banding that would occur if that was changed. Probably not, but those are the things to consider. So, yeah, you're displaying the screen 200 times a second, but okay, the game isn't running that fast. That's not true for every game. If I recall, Counter-Strike does have 60 tick rate servers or even 100 tick rate servers or something like that. So not every game is going to be limited to 30 tick rate behind the scenes or 60 tick rate at the logical level versus the network level. So what do you get when I'm actually talking about this frame rate stuff? You're getting a lot of interpolation that may not actually be under the hood real. A unit might be moving from a grid to a grid, but you're just getting an interpolation of their position. Anyway, enough of that technical mumbo-jumbo, which I probably half butchered anyway. Ooh, everything just lit on fire at the same time there. But yeah, my original point is that the old limitations of hardware and computing probably helped a lot of older games actually be as good as they were. And I think it's why they stand much of the test of time. Because they distilled their goal relatively well into their game. The developers did. This thing will not leave me alone. I've questioned the existence of slimes in the past, but my real question is, how did you get the slimes to side with the demonic forces of whatever? Why are the slimes siding with you versus me? Why are they not my friends? I'd like to know. Maybe they're just mad because I'm in their home. There we go. Reach level 60. Good stuff. Kill 10 bosses. There we go. We've got 10 bosses killed. Now, if I had another bucket to send this up, I'd probably choose one of these crit rings to probably put up. But this hood is also very good for the early game. It is a non-boot item that gives you movement speed. It is relatively simple. It did just get made into what it is. It previously... What did it give? It gave like 10% defense and... Maybe that was it. Maybe it was like 10% defense and something else, though. But now it gives 10% movement speed as well. Apply burn to 10,000 enemies. Well, yes, I think I will. Some people like to set the world on fire. I am one of those people, but only in video games. Apply effects 20,000 times. See, it was a good thing I took these other things. I'm getting all sorts of achievements related to status effects here. 3 minutes left to the run. We're getting... And we'll take collateral damage. I often talk about how something isn't good for your weapon. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for these. So, like, critical is not great for this character's weapon, but it's great for lightning strikes and flame strike. So bonuses are generally global, or they're limited to, say, fire or lightning or magic or physical instead of just main hand weapon or something like that. One of my favorite abilities with the Exterminator is the Dragon's Fire, which I don't have unlocked that I'm aware of. I might have unlocked it in this run from doing different fire damage effects. But the Dragon's Fire has a knockback effect It has a stream alternative, and I really like the stream alternative with the Exterminator because it basically gives him a second flamethrower. And what's better than just more fire? And with multi-strike, that stream actually has multiple streams, and they will actually kind of spin around trying to target different enemies because of the auto-target that I have on, which can make it quite good, actually, as it kind of spins around and just hits everything around you ever so slightly. I'm just going to take this for now, because why not? I'm to the point where a lot of these choices no longer matter. We're just kind of maxing out our character at this point. We don't have a lot of our traits actually unlocked for either the character, because it's the first run of this character on this save, or for some of these abilities, because kind of similar reasons. I have not used these abilities so that they don't have anything unlocked. Getting a little more hectic as we get closer to 0 seconds here. I think we'll survive, though. Not sure how much force actually assists us in this level. Or for this character in general. Force is a utility stat. It increases the duration of certain effects, or the distance of a lot of effects, or the duration of certain summons, things like that. Okay, here we go. Hello, Mr. Boss. Come close to me. How much damage can we do with our Flame Strike? I think all bosses now have summons that show up with them, or most do. Which means that you could technically farm a little extra experience, I think. Maybe? Maybe these don't give experience. No, they're not dropping any experience. I am trying to get to this glove just to pick up what's on the ground, though. Some more movement speed here. We're doing some good damage when we sit right next to him with that Flame Strike there. We've got a lot of defense. Let's see what our defense is actually at. We've got 73% damage reduction. So, not shabby at all. And goodbye to the Flame Strike. So there you go. You can see what Flame Strike does. And of course, it actually helps that I'm also doing fire damage, because the fire damage will stack up to a certain point and then trigger some extra damage, unless they've changed that. I don't remember all the changes. So anyways, what do we get? We got Ruby Circlet. We got Dragon's Breath. There it is. That's one of my favorite abilities with this class. And then Burn Damage Blessing, Inferno 2, some gold. Ring of Fire. So that helps us with some fire damage and burn damage. This will be unlocked in a future run. Firewalker Boots, same thing. And then more gold. And then Flame Strike, Deadly something. Not sure which one that is. Let's see here. Proficient Stance here. So we will unlock different abilities for our classes. So Proficient Stance 4. We were running out of abilities near the end there. We are now getting more of those. Fire Affinity is another trait. So there'll be 3 levels of Fire Affinity, and then this Boss Slayer Proficient Stance will be for every character. Sparking Tips. So that is a lightning glove, and then the force trait as well. So a lot of unlocks there. So let's see here. We got burn damage here. And that's it for this area. We did not acquire any new items or potions. Because you only get one bucket generally. So if I wanted to continue playing this character, especially with like something like Flame Strike or just burn damage in general, you know, I could pump this up. Or I can walk over here. There's the Scars of Toil, the missing health item. So this is really good on any character that can kind of sit at mid or low health and take a hit and not die. And I think the Exterminator is one of those classes. It goes really well with the Mask of Madness as well. Because the Mask of Madness will slowly diminish your health anyway. So, for the sake of wanting both of these, I need 10,000, huh? Oops. Okay, so yeah, that point right there was 8,000 gold. We can sacrifice 10% damage for both of these items. There we go. We got another achievement. So let's go look at our milestones here. Health potions, kill a total of 10 bosses. The Jade Amulet. I think that's the one that gives experience, probably, because it says level up 500 times. I find the Jade Amulet kind of bad. I think it was really broken earlier on because you didn't have as much experience possibility. And it does give good experience. It's like 60%, but then it diminishes by like 1% per level. And then by level 60, it just does nothing. So, survive at least 5 minutes 20 different times. So gold is brewed in barrels, so you'll find more gold in barrels. There is a gold gain blessing, so you can find more gold in general. I believe the gold blessing only works for pickups. It does not work for quest gold. And then there's weapon proficiency right there. Oh, and you can track things now. And dedication 4. And there'll probably be like a dedication 5 or 6 or something right there next to it once we unlock it. And then doing a quest unlocks everything next to it. Just an FYI on that. So you'd have to do this to unlock this, or this to unlock that. So you can kind of come to some of these quests from different angles. Well, not all of them will be able to be approached from different angles, though. So this one, for example, Blazing Shell, you have to do this one first. So, defeat the Worm Queen. We already did that because we unlocked the Warlock. And then Blazing Shell, if you want to do even more fire damage, Blazing Shell is an armor that scales with pickup range and just lights things on fire every few seconds. And guarantees the burn stacks. And Blazing Shell itself probably can get you through most levels in Agony almost entirely trait naked. Just Blazing Shell and maybe some other things that increase, for example, pickup range, doubling the range of the Blazing Shell. Anyway, that's enough for this video. Next time, we didn't unlock anything new, so next time we'll probably go with, let's see, we've done the Warlock, we've done the Cleric, we've done the Swordsman, so probably have to go with the Archer. That is our next major character class to run. They want us to do crits 5,000 times in a single run, and the Archer is definitely the class to do that with. Another one of my favorite classes, of course, is the Shield Maiden. I've done a couple videos on the Shield Maiden already. It keeps trying to go to the other class here every time I hover this. Anyways, so we'll do the Archer next time. We'll see if we can unlock another character somewhere in here. And until next time, hope this video made your day a little bit better. Like and subscribe, and keep on gaming.